Contractors Chronicles community, that time of the week ago. This week's been interesting. Let me share with you what's been going down. So I left Cape Town towards the garden route to make use of a timeshare that was given to a family member and gifted to us, and it's just so amazing going down, thinking through this whole process of actually going to break away for the week. Took my laptop with, I'll be honest, because there was work to do, and I even took my fishing rod with. I thought, you know what, I'm going to maybe throw a line along the way, and my wife came down with me. Unfortunately, there were incidents along the road. We broke down. We were trapped in a little town called Rent for 6 hours before another vehicle was brought to us. We left there at 8 o'clock at night. Anyway, long story short, we got to our destination, and it wasn't long, and my beautiful wife had to fly back to be back home for personal reasons. Something happened at home and she needed to get back. So that wasn't the plan, though. We thought that might need to happen, but so I was alone. I was alone on this timeshare in the middle of nowhere, and just the weirdest things started happening, guys. It's just been so interesting. And so what happened this week, and really I think it reflected, I've been reflecting a lot as an entrepreneur through this growing my business, where we're going, what we're doing, and maybe not how we're going about things, but who can we get to get the business to serve the lifestyle that I'm accustomed to, and to serve the vision that we've got for this business. But I'll share it a bit later with you. But just to let you know that I bumped into a friend of mine there. I hadn't seen him for a couple of months. I asked him how his significant other is, and this is the crunch line. She says, Demi, she passed away. When? Easter. I'm sorry, I thought you knew about it. I said, I didn't know about it. And this friend of mine, we don't connect often, but when we do connect, we connect at a soul level. And I was blown away. I was like, come on, I didn't know about this. And my heart went out to him. I could just see how sad he was. He really loved his significant other. And he said to me, he said, Demi, everything was going fine. In fact, everything was going better than it's ever gone before. And then this happened. Overnight, she passed away. And just thought about my relationships. I thought about my business. I thought about my children. And all this flashed in front of my eyes. And I said to myself, tragic can happen at any time. And as entrepreneurs, we all get stuck in the grind. I do. I know you do. If you're a business owner, or you have a team and you're leading, and you have some kind of authority for where you're leading a team and you need to be responsible for them. Guys, we carry a lot of stress on our shoulders. And my type of personality profile is we're focused, we do what we have to do, we hustle, we make it happen. And that kind of personality, I believe, can sometimes go offbeat. We can fall into a trap where we're not smelling the roses enough. And when we do smell the roses, we feel guilty. Like we don't want to tell people, guys. And this appeals mostly to business owners or those in leadership positions, is that we're taking a lot of risk, we're taking a lot of strain. We're going to suck it up. When things go wrong, the buck stops at us. Sometimes we need to mortgage our house to pay for the business, cash flow issues. Sometimes we need to not take salaries. Come on. Is that not a reason enough to sometimes break away, to be creative? And usually I've always said breaking away is good for your creativity, because everyone knows it's in this podcast. If you go back down the line and you listen to some of the podcasts, you'll see the vision for Lab of companies. creatively on a trip away to my cottage on the Breda River. And the Lab of Companies vision is quite unique and it's very niche for South Africa, that we're focusing on building home services businesses that are niche because we're good at it. And we're going to be acquiring and building the Lab of Companies in that domain because we're good at it. So that's the vision. And we want to become a leader in it in our industry. So we've already got waterproof lab, we've got poo lab, and we're focusing on roof lab at the moment as well. But guys, this trip wasn't only about being creative. This trip, and this is what I'm trying to appeal to those out there, is that sometimes it can be a spiritual trip too, and without realizing it, it can be a spiritual journey for you. And that was for me. So I met when I dropped my wife off at the airport, I said, what am I going to do now? I was just open to just seeing where this is going to take me. And I probably don't do very well on my own in a nice hotel. It's not my thing. I like more rustic. But be that as it may, I met some amazing people, and they opened up some eyes. They opened up my eyes, at least, at a deep spiritual level, and also from a health level. Is that I went to this talk. I was invited to this talk. I said yes immediately. There's only 7 of us in the room, and this energy healer was giving a talk about your energies and about guarding your energies and what are the pillars of health. And some of them that came up for me was your health is absolutely critical. The nutrition, what do you put in your body, and that's got to do with your food, your blood type, all those things, even the water that we're drinking. And I just drink tap water usually. I've always like, it's not this, but empirically and scientifically, she showed us how dangerous it is for us to drink the normal tap water because all the nutrients have been stripped from there. And we need to put a plan in place to hydrate our body because our body there's a lot of water. What's this got to do with Contractors Chronicles? Well, everything really, because we've got to guard our health if we want to be successful in our relationships. And we have relationships at work. We've got to guard our energy because we need to be on top form all the time. We need to make some decisions. So what are we doing? Are we feeding our body the right nutrients? Or what's our toxicity levels? As an entrepreneur, we've got to make sure that we're putting ourselves out there in that space where we're aware of our health. And so that was important. And I think another thing that came up for me was, and I've often pushed that aside, was our emotional well-being. And that's another topic for another day. But this is my belief, is that our body holds trauma, and every human being is the same. We all experience trauma sometime in our lives, and our body keeps that trauma trapped, and we have to find a way to release it, either in the form of talking to someone or understanding and realizing where it could be holding you back in your life. Because if our emotional well-being is not right, again, it affects our relationships, it affects our energy levels, it affects our mentality, it affects us from an emotional point of view. And we need to guard that seriously if we want to be entrepreneurs, because we 3 to 4% of the nation. Not everyone's leaders out there, guys. Not everyone has big dreams and big visions out there. And we need to make sure that we guarding those elements fiercely. So without boring you guys with all the details of where this journey took, but there were 5 areas this week that absolutely blew my mind from a spiritual point of view. And I'm not saying I'm changing and I'm this new person, but I've definitely woken up to a new part of my life, because I think I'm more awake. I'm open to learning. I'm open to learning about business. I'm I'm opening to learning about my health. I'm opening to learning about my spiritual well-being, my emotional well-being, and I'm going to put myself in that space more, because why wouldn't I? I owe it to my children. I owe it to the people that are working for lab of companies. I owe it to my partners, and I'm not shy about it. I put it out there, and I think it's going to make a massive difference, because if we're not working on ourselves, then what are we doing? We're doing disservice to the other people around there too. So that's been my process this week. I'm not even going to go into where we are with our traditional systems, our leadership, and our numbers, because there's been a lot happening in that space. I've been working on a lot of areas, and I'm not even going to go there, because I think the message I'm trying to drive home this week, for myself at least, is, for me, this journey has been absolutely life-changing, and I'm just looking forward and very grateful. You know, one of the areas that really stood out to me, if you say to me, Demi, one of the areas that really stood out to you out of that whole journey was, sometimes we've got to, I think as entrepreneurs, business owners, we hard on ourselves, man. We're far too hard on ourselves, and we've got to learn to eliminate certain words out of our vocabulary. And the one thing is, I should have done X. I should have been more aware about that aspect of my relationship. I should have, guys. The should have starts becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy, I believe, where us as entrepreneurs, that we start self-sabotaging ourselves, and we've got to learn to love ourselves and understand that if we're living in the now and we're loving ourselves a bit more, that things happen for a reason, and we need to love ourselves for those areas in our lives where we've made mistakes, because we all do, and things can trap us and hold us back from succeeding. And if we're living in the now, we're not living in the past, we're not too living in the future. We've put the vision out there, and now we live in the now. And sometimes when, like for instance, our 3-year plan, things might change, things might move, we're going to be fluid and see how that works. But we're definitely going to live in the now, and we're going to, for me, it's about being more self-aware of areas that are holding me back, so that I can be the best person that I can be. And I'm excited, and I'm hoping that, just hoping that you're getting something out of these podcasts. And last week I got 3 calls from friends that been listening to my podcast. Guys, you know who you are. Just want to say thank you. You are the pillars of my life as well, and I really appreciate all of you guys, and I'm really hoping that we can make a difference in other people's lives too. We've got to love each other for being human. We've got to make sure that we're not judging people unrealistically, and love people for who they truly are. And if we do that in our business, and we look at the people around us and they experience that love from a deeper level, obviously with constraints, but they can experience that you do care enough, and that there is love, and we do want the best of our people, they'll go to war for you guys. So but it's got to come from an authentic place, and you've got to do the work. And I'm in a good place, and I know that I'm going to have my tips, but this time, no matter what goes wrong, I'm strong, man. I'm very grateful. Guys, have a good one. Keep your head up, and let's make this week count.